But at some point, she had fallen asleep and opened her eyes to Uncle Bill, calling her name at sunset. Layla rose up from her seat, carried her bag, and picked up the blanket. "Uncle Bill, I saw a kid." When Layla was about to tell her encounter with the boy who she shared her peaches with, she was interrupted by silhouettes of people walking out from the other side of the forest. It was Duke Herhart and his friends. Matthias paused in the center of the rose garden. The blunt gardener, Bill Remmer, was there bowing his head towards the Duke. It was not long before Matthias realized that there was a tiny child hiding behind the gardener. "Long time no see, Mr. Remmer." Matthias lightly nodded. His acquaintances that were with him during his hunting session stopped behind the Duke at a moderate distance. "She's going to be staying here at Arvis for the time," being Bill Remmer informed the Duke with a slightly uncomfortable look. When Bill tapped the girl's back to come forward, the girl hesitatingly took a step towards the Duke. Thanks to her sparkling blonde hair, Matthias was able to recall who the child was. The girl who he almost shot. The absurd little girl who almost got shot for being thought of as a bird. "I've already received approval from Madame Norma and Madame Ellis, but I believe I should ask for your approval as well." Bill Remmer bowed his head once again. The child standing beside him bowed along. Matthias slowly glanced at the child. When they exchanged looks, the child frowned at him. Thin scowled eyes and clamped lips. Her expression was the exact same when they first met in the woods. "You're that girl. The girl who lives in the forest." Matthias's cousin, Riette, snickered from behind. The red-faced child hid behind the gardener's back in embarrassment. The girl he occasionally met in the forest was like that as well. As soon as she stared into the Duke's eyes in wonder, she hid behind the tree. And after Matthias had finished hunting, she always came out from behind and buried the dead birds. "Sure, if that's what you want, Mr. Remmer." Matthias gave a brief answer with a grin. Whatever the gardener raised in the forest was none of his business. "Thank you, my lord." Bill gave him his thanks. After Matthias's chin ever so slightly nodded at Bill, he began to move. After the Duke passed the gardener and the girl, Layla flinched at the sight of Matthias's servants, following him with their hands full of hunted animals. The deep, unpleasant scent of blood ran through the girl's nose. Layla's shoulders hunched, and she closed her eyes. Uncle Bill's large, warm hands patted Layla's frail shoulders. Claudine let out an exaggerated sigh, with her chin rested on the palm of her hand. Her curled brown hair bounced along to the beat of her constant sighs. Countess Brandt glanced at her daughter with her thin eyebrows. "Claudine, behave like a lady, please." The Countess's inarticulate voice grew in impatience. Although Claudine was rather too young to be called a lady, she was soon to be the Duchess of Arvis. Claudine's mother let out a long sigh at her daughter's immature attitude. "But I'm so lonely and bored," Claudine grumbled. The other noblewomen, who were drinking tea at the tea table, turned their eyes at the upset brunette girl. "Then go play with your cousins." Countess Brandt huffed as her face turned crimson red. But Claudine did not bother to notice her frustrated mother. "They treat me as if I'm not here. They say things I don't understand." The ladies let out a soft smile at Claudine's annoyed expression. "Well, it can be boring." Claudine doesn't have any friends her age. Ellis von Herhart nodded as she stroked the white dog sitting on her lap. "See, Madame Herhart understands." A lively smile bloomed on Claudine's lip when she found someone who could understand her pain. "Who's that child?" Claudine suddenly directed her finger towards a garden after glancing at a young girl for some time. All the ladies turned their heads toward the direction Claudine was pointing at. The young girl Claudine was talking about was taking a stroll with a gardener. "Can I play with her? I think she's about the same age as me." "Well, isn't she an orphan from abroad?" "That kind of girl isn't suitable to be your friend." "I'm fine. I think it'll be more amusing than playing with a dog." Claudine's tone was calm and imposing. She didn't pay any attention to her mother's red ears that were about to burst in embarrassment. Ellis von Herhart laughed and happily rang the bell. "Bring me that child." A maid arrived at the call of her master's bell. "The child the gardener is currently raising." The maid brought Layla to an unknown world. It was a place where fancy people dressed in candy sweet-colored clothes, sat under the white mansion shade. "She's very cute," one of the ladies complimented.